Week 1 in the books, week 2 coming up. Let's go. All right, welcome back to the webcast, All Sports One Web. Week 1 of the NFL season is behind us, and we get ready for week 2. This is the best time of the NFL season where we get to overreact to week 1 and try and pick all of the games for week 2 without being biased by that. Last week, we went 8-8, so we brought Jacob in now to help us out with week 2 picks. How are you doing? Are you ready for this NFL season? How was week 1 for you?
Oh, week 1 was great. Yeah, lots of crazy results. I'm glad football's back. Just looking forward to week 2.
Yes, I know. Fantasy is back as well. It is good fun. And so we're just going to go ahead and dive into our picks. We do all of our picks on ESPN, so go ahead and make your account and pick along with us. Like I said, last week, 8-8. That is the worst record we have ever had here on the webcast, regardless of sport, in the last year and some change that we've been doing picks. That was the worst performance of all time. And so we got the giant L that I took last week. So hopefully we can go ahead and change that and get into it. We are 350,000th place right now with our 8-8 record. So let's go ahead and hopefully get a winning record as we go try to get that top spot. Remember, all of our picks on ESPN.com. Go ahead and make your account and pick along with us throughout the entire season. We start up with another great Thursday night game. Last week we had Kansas City hosting Detroit. What a game that was. This one, Minnesota, after that loss to Tampa Bay, going into Financial Link Field to take on the Eagles for their home opener after their great win in New England. I'm super excited about this one tomorrow night. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, this is a big NFC showdown. I think it'll be a little bit closer than the 92% that this suggests, but I still got to lean Eagles. They're one of the teams to beat in the NFC right now. Vikings are obviously going to look to bounce back from their narrow loss in week 1, but yeah, I'm going to just pick Eagles until someone tells me otherwise.
Yeah, both of them kind of were on the opposite ends last week. The Eagles off to a good start and then kind of holding on at the end. Minnesota trying to kind of finish it, get that last touchdown to pass Tampa Bay, but they were able to run out the clock. Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings, you thought like 2 fumbles in the first half. I thought with that touchdown late in that second quarter, okay, great. They're going into halftime. They're going to be up. They're going to be able, all the mistakes are behind them. They're going to be able to ride that through the second half. But Tampa Bay, and I got to give Baker credit here, even though I hate to do it. Great kind of gritty performance, especially that third down run at the end there to ice the game. Absolutely fantastic.
Great catch by Godwin, but it was a good pass too.
Yeah, absolutely great to get that win for Tampa Bay. So Minnesota is definitely going to be looking to kind of copy New England's script as well. New England that second half against the Eagles started throwing it, especially up the middle. I'm going to guess that Justin Jefferson and even Addison are going to get some good games for fantasy this week. But I think I'm going to agree with you. I think I got Philadelphia in this one. 92%, though, I don't agree with that high of a percentage. Over Minnesota, I think this game will be a lot closer than that percentage, but I agree. I think we got to go Eagles in this one. Green Bay and Atlanta with 2 great wins. Aaron Jones hopefully will come back. It looks like it wasn't a full hamstring pull for him, so hopefully he'll be practicing later this week and get into the game as they travel to Atlanta. 2 road games to start the season for Green Bay, 2 home games to start the season for Atlanta and Bijan Robinson. Who do you got in this?
Yeah, this is a tough one for me. Man, Bijan Robinson, what a debut touchdown. I don't think I've ever seen a better debut touchdown than that. The little step back move after catching the little screen pass. That was absolutely amazing. I can't wait to watch that guy more. and I like him so much already. I want to pick the Falcons to win this one, but I think Packers coming off that big rival win, continuing the streak against the Chicago Bears. I think they'll edge it out. But yeah, it's tough especially with Atlanta being home.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I mean, Kyle Pitts and Drake London held to, I think, under 2 catches combined in that game. That's not going to be enough, I don't think, to beat the Packers. We know the Packers' identity. They want to run the football. They want to hold the ball. Jordan Love is going to make the throws when he needs to. But they're going to be focusing on running the football, holding possession. And I think Atlanta, without that threat of, Kyle Pitts, I don't think has scored a touchdown since college. And so I don't feel like the air game is there for him. So the passing game is there for him. So I agree. I like the Packers in that one to go on the road and get the win. What a start for them. Now, as we move on to the Raiders playing the Bills, the Raiders went into Denver and got that win. And we told you last week that last year we had ridden off both the Raiders and the Denver Broncos, that we were never going to pick them. And of course, we had to pick one of them last week, and we went with the Raiders. They did get the win, but both teams had 10 penalties each. That was the second highest game of penalties. You had the Broncos, who started off with an onside kick and committed a penalty, which gave the Raiders short field possession. Denver even gained the Raiders in that game, but because of the field possession, they just didn't have the ability to get points onto the board like the Raiders were able to. They end the game, Denver does, with a penalty. So this game was awful in terms of my confidence and my faith. And even though Buffalo, with Josh Allen throwing 4 or being responsible for 4 turnovers, including 3 in the second half, I still am going to not pick the Raiders until they show me some consistency, some game management. Jimmy G did bring that grittiness at the end with a couple of those first down runs, but even at the end of the game, Denver gave up a penalty to extend that drive and allowed Jimmy G that chance to get a second first down to end the game completely. And so I gotta go with Buffalo on this one.
Yeah, I'm picking Josh Allen to rebound. He was super hard on himself after the 3 interceptions the other day. I think he'll bounce back in a good fashion and take it. Jimmy G, though, he throws an interception, doesn't play that well, still manages to win in typical Jimmy G style. It's not always pretty with him, but I don't know. He finds a way to win. So maybe he can do something to keep surprising us. I don't think it happens against the Bills. I think they're going to really look to stomp a team because they know they let one slide in New York.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one. Excited to see how they respond. We'll see if Von Miller plays as well. That'll be interesting. Another great, interesting game. The Ravens traveling to Cincinnati, take on the Bengals. Some great games over the years there between the Ravens and the Bengals, especially later in the season. Kind of sad to see this one in week 2. But Baltimore rebounding well after that early J.K. Dobbins injury. He did get his touchdown, but he didn't then tore his Achilles, out for the rest of the season. They were able to get the passing game going pretty well, which was interesting. OBJ, nice to see him back on the field. Joe Burrow couldn't get anything going against Cleveland as Cleveland extend that streak over the Bengals. Jamar Chase as well. T. Higgins held without a single catch last week. But I do think the Bengals will be able to rebound in this one. I think this game will be really close. I expect a lower scoring game, but I do think in the end, Joe Burrow makes enough plays to get the Bengals a win in their season opener over the Ravens.
Yeah. Did you see OBJ came out with the Ray Lewis dance? That was cool to see. Yeah, obviously wasn't a huge impact in the game. I've never seen a team get so much criticism after a week 1 25-9 win than the Ravens have this past week. Everyone seems to be asking so many questions about why they're so bad. I don't really exactly agree with that. I understand where that's coming from. Obviously, the J.K. Dobbins injury is a huge impact on the team, and you never want to see a guy, especially in week 1, go down like that. That being said, I'm still on the Joe Burrow bandwagon. He he's a great player. He didn't do anything the other day. He got benched even. I still think Bengals take this, though. The Ravens are going to really be lacking Dobbins to open up the pass game. And, yeah, I think the Bengals take this.
Yeah, two surprising performances, Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow last week. So Joe Burrow played really poorly against the Steelers to open up last year. 4 turnovers in that game. TJ Watt with all of those sacks as well really helped propel the Steelers to that OT win in Cincinnati. And we will get to the Steelers, don't you worry. But I agree, Bengals win this one. The Lions, 10 days rest before they get to return home and host Seattle, who lost to the Rams at home. I think one of the more surprising games of last week, the Rams going in to Seattle and getting that 30-13 win over the Seahawks. That passing game from Matt Stafford didn't skip a beat with Cooper Kupp out. Tyler Higbee, even Van Jefferson didn't really do that much, but overall a great win for the Rams. Seattle going into Detroit. Anything but a Detroit win for you?
Honestly, I can't believe this is 87% to 13%. You watch that Lions game, they came up with the plays they needed to win that game, but man, the Chiefs lost that game. They surely gave that one away, and Seahawks are gonna be trying to bounce back. I'm kind of on the fence in this one. If you think Lions, I'll go Lions, but this is a tough one.
Yeah, I think this is where the Lions bridge that gap from last year to this year. I think you have such a great statement win that they were able to finally get it over the line this year, winning in Arrowhead. Yes, no Chris Jones. Yes, no Travis Kelce, but still to beat Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in Arrowhead to start off the season when they've been practically undefeated. Andy Reid is in his career in week 1 games, as well as Patrick Mahomes. I think that was just a statement win. They get 10 days rest. Seattle's got to come practically across the country into Detroit for their home opener. I think a good game, but I do like the Lions in this one. 2 wins, so we will give them the win. Chargers did not disappoint in anything besides losing last week. A great offensive display, running the game, little pitch downs to Austin Eckler, full-on passing attack that we thought we were going to see, we got. But they did pick up the loss to Miami. Tennessee goes into New Orleans with a great back and forth game of defenses. It just seemed like everyone was going 3 and out in that game. They lost narrowly to the Saints in the Big Easy, but they get to return home for their home opener. Who do you got in this one?
I got Chargers. Yeah, what a game against the Dolphins. You called it. That was just a great offensive battle, just back and forth. I think the Chargers look really good, though. Herbert is an awesome quarterback, and I think the Titans start the year in an unfortunate way, 0-2.
Yeah, this one I think will also be a lot closer than this 89%, but I agree. I think the Chargers will bounce back. We do have them winning the division this year, the Chargers, so they will need to bounce back in a big way these next couple of weeks because the Raiders are top of that division currently, with everyone else picking up a loss in week 1. Like the Chicago Bears did at home to Green Bay, they now go on the road to Tampa, where Baker Mayfield is returning from there in Minnesota to have their season opener. Who do you got in this one?
I think this is the first one I'm going to go against the favor here. I think Justin Fields jumps back and makes the plays necessary to take down Baker. I think Baker held on the other day, and I don't want to say he got lucky. He made the throws that he needed to, but I don't see him start. I don't see Baker starting up 2-0, and I'm gonna pick the Bears for this one.
Yeah, I would love to see the Bears pull this one out. I think this is going to be one of the closest back and forth matchups of the weekend. I love Justin Fields and what he can do. I love Tampa Bay's defense and what they are able to do in Minnesota, getting pressure on the quarterback. But I think Justin Fields may be a little bit too elusive. And if they can get on the board, get that connection going with DJ Moore, then I do like the Bears' chances. So let's go Bears to go into Tampa and get their first win of the season. Another team looking to get their first win of the season, the Kansas City Chiefs. They signed Chris Jones conveniently right after that Detroit game. He will be back. We'll see how many minutes he gets in this game in Jacksonville as the Prince comes home to Jacksonville for their season opener as the Jags look to improve to 2-0. What a performance from Calvin Ridley last week. He's been out for over a year. Comes back and doesn't skip a beat. Exactly what we expected out of preseason. He just continued that form into the game. That offense is going to be fantastic. Travis Etienne even getting into it. Tanks Bigsby as well. It's going to be a great offensive attack power going forward for the season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But I think I have to lean Kansas City. Travis Kelce coming back as well. I think it's just going to be too much. Who do you got in this one?
Yeah, I think Chris Jones got a few more million in that contract after they lost their
lot of
against
incentives.
The Lions.
Yeah.
They definitely missed him. You look back at the game, like Goff had so much time, and he's Trevor Lawrence is not going to have as much time as Goff did with Chris Jones trying to get to him. I think this will be a great game, though. I'm really excited for this one. Travis Kelce coming back also, like you said, is huge. Chiefs take this one, I think.
Yeah, what a performance they had. Jacksonville did last year in the playoffs at Arrowhead, and now they get to return the favor and be at home. I think that will give them a little bit of an edge, but I do think Kansas City will just take it in the end. Indianapolis, what a great start. This is the battle of the rookie quarterbacks. What a great start for really both of these guys, but in particular, Richardson last week, the rushing yards, getting his first touchdown in the NFL as well. They travel to Houston to take on C.J. Stroud and the Texans. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, so this will be an interesting matchup with the two super young quarterbacks. C.J. Stroud definitely had the harder first game against a difficult Ravens defense. The Jaguars defense wasn't as strong against Richardson. I still think Richardson outperformed and exceeded expectations in that game one. I think the Texans are in a rough spot right now. I'm going to go Colts.
Yeah, I think just that Anthony Richardson, just what he can do, that way they structured that offense. I thought they were going to be a little bit more reserved without having Jonathan Taylor and having a rookie starting, but it looked like he has been playing for a couple seasons. He was given full reins last week. I think that's going to just be that little bit of an extra edge in that matchup between the two of them. And so I like the Colts going into Houston and getting a win. San Francisco going into LA after going in to Pittsburgh and beating the pants off the Steelers, even though we had the Steelers as the upset of the week last week. What an all-around performance. You said it last week in our picks. How well-rounded San Francisco is, and you just watch them. The throws Brock Purdy was making, the catches that everyone was making, from Christian McCaffrey's running game to the blocking to the punt returns to the kicking. I mean, the team is flawless top to bottom. They go into LA to take on the Rams for the Rams season opener. What a performance from the Rams, Matthew Stafford, and all of those young new wide receivers that he has to go into Seattle and get the win. You think they'll have enough against that San Francisco defense, though?
Yeah, so rematch of the 2022 NFC Championship game. I'm super excited for this one also. I think the Rams beating the Seahawks was the most surprising result. The Rams showed us that they still have remnants of just winning a Super Bowl not too long ago. But let's put some respect on Brock Purdy's name. 49ers are going to take this. 49ers are the best team in the NFL. 49ers win this game.
Wow. Yeah, I think I can't see anything but 49ers win in this one. Just too much across the board, defensively, offensively. I can't see anything. I can see and believe this 95%. Great win last week for the Rams, but I don't think it continues. Two teams that I don't know. I don't know if the Giants knew they were playing football last week. That was the most lopsided football game I've seen in I don't even know how long. just absolutely couldn't get anything going. 2 missed field goals, a bunch of turnovers, nothing going on offense in the run game, in the pass game. Absolutely terrible as they lost 40-0 to the Cowboys. Arizona, good defensive display there, and they were able to put up a fight against Washington. They get to return home. Who do you got in this one?
Daniel Jones continuing the trend of quarterbacks getting huge contracts and not performing well. Cardinals, though, are in such a bad place right now, franchise-wise, and I think the Giants come back with vengeance and score the first points of the season and win the game.
Yeah, journeyman Josh Dobbs, 3 weeks with the Cardinals, starting quarterback last week, did pretty well in Washington. They return home, play the Giants. I actually like the Cardinals in this one. I don't know why. I just have lost faith in the Giants, maybe. I do hope that they bounce back a little bit, but that performance, I think Saquon Barkley will be able to bounce back. I don't know if Daniel Jones will be able to bounce back. I mean, we had this team last year, 9-8. Everyone thought that they were overperforming. This year, a little bit harder of a schedule. I just think that they're just not going to win that many games. Is this one of them that they may win? I think it will be close. I would lean Cardinals in this one, but you can convince me that the Giants are going to win.
Yeah, all I'll say is you started this broadcast saying let's not get too biased for the week 1 results, and the Giants played who you picked to have the best record in the NFL than the Dallas Cowboys, and the Cardinals played a mediocre at best Commanders team and still lost. I really think the Giants take that.
Yeah, the team we picked
they lost 40-0, which is an astounding scoreline.
Yeah, there has to be some rebound from that. The Jets, what a win that was. Aaron Rodgers goes down. Zach Wilson comes in, walk-off punt return in overtime to win against Buffalo. Dallas Cowboys the night before in the same stadium, one of the most dominant defensive performances. We knew that defense was going to be good. We didn't necessarily think it was going to be that good. Can they repeat it now that they're back home in Dallas and taking on the Jets with Zach Wilson?
Yeah, I mean, that's the key. The last thing you said, Zach Wilson is just not Aaron Rodgers, and he seems like a good kid and all, but I feel so bad for the Jets fan base. They've got a solid team. Breece Hall was amazing. He looked so good. And maybe if Zach Wilson just keeps throwing it down to him, just handing it to him, then they'll put up a fight here. But I don't think that it's going to be close. I think Cowboys take that.
Okay. Well, we banished the Denver Broncos last year. We banished them last week in week 1. They take on Washington after Washington was able to get that win at home. Denver still at home. Sean Payton's second game. Russell Wilson. They should get Jerry Jeudy back hopefully this week after missing him last week with a hamstring injury. I'm inclined to keep them off and go Washington. Are you on board?
Yeah. This is a tough one because I feel like the Broncos have the better team on paper, better coach, but there's just something not right with Denver Broncos, and Sean Payton's doing his Super Bowl onside kick. I don't know what the hell that was. He got lucky the first time. Why would you ever do that again in your career? Something's not right in Denver. I'm totally happy to pick Washington until Denver proves that they're an actual football team.
Yeah, I need to see a little bit more from Russell Wilson. I think he's going to get there. I do think it's just a slow start to the season for Denver. Sam Howell, I think, will have trouble with that Denver defense. The Denver defense has always shown up. We have known that. It's just whether or not Denver can score more than 17 points. That's been their Achilles heel for last year and this year. I don't think they'll do that this year this game against Washington. So I like the Commanders in that one. And now we move on to the Sunday night game in Foxborough. New England almost staging that comeback last week. But some interesting points, I think, about that game when you look at like the coaching decisions, especially going for it on fourth down inside the Philadelphia's 30-yard line in that second half. instead of kicking the field goal and just getting more points on the board, going for 2 after scoring a touchdown as well late in the second half, forced the Patriots to have to go for a touchdown in both of their last 2 drives, including the drive after the Jalen Hurts fumble that started in Philadelphia territory. If they don't go for 2 and they kick the field goal instead of going for it on 4th down earlier in the half, they allow themselves to get a field goal to take the lead against the Eagles instead of needing a touchdown. And I think that was a big difference. You add that with the 2 mishaps on the sideline with not the wide receiver not getting his both feet in bounds, and they end up with a loss. I think Belichick will go through all of that. I think those mistakes will not happen again. Tyreek Hill held to 55 yards on 6 catches last time in New England as the Patriots got that 23-21 win last year. And that was only in January, actually. That was of this year, calendar year. I like New England in the upset of the week redemption to beat the Dolphins in Foxborough. That's it. That's all I got.
I agree. Tua and Tyreek might be the greatest 1-2 punch in the NFL right now. Like the most fun to watch.
217 yards.
Yeah. And Tua is amazing also. Yeah, but the Patriots put up a fight against a really solid Eagles team, and they're at home this week. I like the upset.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think it's this 89%, I think, is way too high for the Dolphins. Upset of the week, Patriots over the Dolphins in Foxborough as we move to one of 2 Monday night games as Derek Carr picking up his first win as a member of the New Orleans Saints travel to Bryce Young's home opener in Carolina after their loss to Atlanta. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I didn't pick the Saints last week. I'm going to pick them this week. I think I like Bryce Young. I think he's going to have a slow start to his career in the NFL. But yeah, I'm going Saints.
Yep, I agree. I think the offensive firepower is just going to get better and better and better with the Saints as they go throughout the season. They'll get Alvin Kamara back in a couple of weeks to add to all of this, but I like them to get a 2-0 start to start the season. A team that was supposed to get a 2-0 start based on our pick last week was the Pittsburgh Steelers. That didn't happen. I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. Their first 5 drives, all 3 and out, which included 4 punts and actually an interception on the 3rd play of one of the first 5 drives. -9 yards across those first 5 drives for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They get that touchdown right before halftime to give you a little bit of hope. 20-7. Okay, get the ball, maybe get another score, make this a 1-possession game, get the ball rolling. I thought the defenses were going to be the stars of the show, but only one really showed up to play, and that was the 49ers. Pittsburgh stays at home to take on Deshaun Watson and the Browns with that great win over the Bengals. That Mark Schwartz defense from the Browns last week, flying all over the place. We knew that D-line was going to be great. Could that secondary match up? It did seem like they were able to do that. They are going to give Kenny Pickett fits in this game. But who do you like Monday night in Pittsburgh?
This is a tough one. What a crazy start to the season for the Browns with 2 big AFC North matchups. Yeah, their defense, the Browns played out of their mind to contain Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow in general, going so far as to have Joe Burrow bench. I kind of want this to pick Steelers, though. I think Kenny Pickett figures it out a little bit. I don't think Deshaun Watson has a solid game against a tougher defense in the Steelers. I'm going Steelers.
All the bad blood that has been over the last couple of years between these two. I like the Steelers to bounce back, not just because we picked them last week, but just because Mike Tomlin is going to get the fire under those guys. There's a reason why he has never had a losing season despite the injuries and the lack of depth after the transition of Antonio Brown leaving, Le'Veon Bell leaving, Big Ben leaving. They continuously had winning records, and it's because moments like this where they turn a big loss like that and they rebound and get a good win, especially against the Browns. I do like what I'm seeing from the Browns, especially defensively. So I do think that this will be a great Monday night matchup. And we've had some great under the light games so far this year. Thursday night in Kansas City, Sunday night in MetLife with the Cowboys performance, and Monday night, that OT winner for the Jets over the Bills. I think this week is going to continue. But those are all our picks as we hope to get out of this 8-8 record, get above 500 and move on up the rankings. So go ahead and get your picks on ESPN and pick along with us throughout the entire season. Tomorrow, we are going to be doing our video for the Premier League predictions. Now that the transfer window is shut, it is done. We know what the teams are going to be looking like for the next couple of months. Champions League will be starting up as well. Awesome. And so we will be getting our picks in. So stay tuned with us and get your picks in for NFL, and we will see you next time.